I've been covering Outlander for a long time now, and I've got to be honest. There's one recurring storyline that's been dragging on for way too long. If Season 8 keeps leaning into it, I'm going to be seriously frustrated. But that's not even the wildest part. Because hidden in Season 7 was a moment so subtle, so easy to miss, that most fans probably didn't even catch it. The return of a long-dead character. And believe it or not, I think one major death in Season 8 could actually be the perfect way to bring that character back in a truly emotional twist, after nearly 8 years. Now I get it. This might all sound a little out there if you're new here, but stick with me. If you've been part of this community for a while, it'll start to click fast. And for anyone just joining in, I promise it'll all make sense by the end. So let's get into what we know about this final chapter of Outlander, and what could make it one of the most emotional seasons yet. Over the years, Outlander has developed a formula we've come to expect. Separate beloved characters, throw a wave of chaos at them, then reunite them in a sweeping, emotional moment. It's the backbone of the show's storytelling. But with Season 8 being the final season, and only 10 episodes long, that formula might have to take a back seat. There just isn't time to stretch things out. Every storyline needs to move quickly now, because this last ride through time is going to be packed with heartbreak, hope, and one final showdown before the credits roll. At the end of Season 7, nearly every major character was in a holding pattern. Jamie and Claire were heading back to Fraser's Ridge, trying to reclaim some sense of peace, though the Revolutionary War is creeping ever closer to their doorstep in North Carolina. They've also got Fanny Pico traveling with them, and there's a pretty wild theory floating around that she could actually be their granddaughter. If true, that would be one of the show's most jaw-dropping twists yet. Meanwhile, Brianna and Roger are caught in their own uncertain future. By the end of the season, they're unsure of their path, but it seems likely they'll make their way back to Fraser's Ridge in 1779 to reunite with Jamie and Claire. But knowing Outlander, that reunion might not come easy. The show loves to delay family reconnections, stretching out the emotional payoff for as long as possible. It's been a signature of the series since the beginning. That said, those reunions have always been worth the wait. From Jamie and Claire being torn apart for hours, years, and even decades, to Brianna and Roger enduring their own harrowing separations. Outlander has never shied away from the emotional roller coaster. Season 7 had Roger traveling all the way back to 1739, leaving Brianna behind, and that alone was a storyline full of tension. And let's not forget Brianna being separated from her parents more than once. Every time they find their way back to one another, it's an emotional explosion. So when Brianna finally sees Jamie and Claire again in Season 8, it's guaranteed to be a major tearjerker. Within the story, it's been 5 years since they last saw each other. But here's the problem. There isn't time for a slow, dramatic build-up this season. Normally, the show would throw every obstacle imaginable in their way to make the reunion feel earned. But we already know they'd move heaven and earth for each other. We've seen it time and again. Repeating that now, with only 10 episodes to work with, could feel more frustrating than fulfilling. If Brianna and Roger spend the entire final season just trying to get back to Fraser's Ridge, only to show up in the final episode or two, it's going to feel like a letdown. Sure, the show might try to build suspense, something it leans into even more than the books do. But at this point, most fans would rather skip the drawn-out tension. Let them return early, let them settle in, and give us a glimpse of what peace looks like. Tobias Menzies, who portrayed both Frank and Blackjack Randall, hasn't returned to the show since Season 4 and was pretty clear about not coming back. So the man in that Season 7 clip wasn't him. But the emotion was still there. It was a respectful gesture, a reminder that Frank's presence still lingers in the story, especially for Brianna, who was shaped by his influence. And that might not be the end of it. There's speculation that Season 8 will revisit Frank in a more emotional way. Diana Gabaldon, the author of the Outlander books, has confirmed that the final season won't be a direct match for the novels. Instead, it will include elements from Book 9 and her upcoming Book 10. That opens up endless possibilities, including a devastating character death that could create the perfect moment for Frank to return in a vision, memory, or dream. We already know Season 8 is going to be an emotional ride. That much is certain. So weaving Frank back into the narrative, especially through Brianna, whose identity is so tied to him, could hit fans hard in all the right ways. And even if Tobias Menzies isn't coming back, the idea of Frank still has power. It still matters. At the end of the day, Season 8 has a tall order. Wrap up a sprawling story, give beloved characters the endings they deserve, sneak in a few surprises, and stay true to the emotional core that made Outlander unforgettable. And the only way to do that successfully? Cut out the slow burns. Ditch the delays. Let the characters come together now. Give us the payoff. Let the emotional arcs unfold fully. Because after 8 seasons, after centuries of battles, heartbreak, and healing, it's only fair that Outlander goes out with as much heart as it had when it all began.